Have you ever felt the need to explain yourself to people who already decided what they believe about you? You spend your energy proving your intentions, defending your choices, and convincing those who are committed to misunderstanding you. But what if the greatest sign of strength is not having a response? What if silence is not weakness, but wisdom? A person who truly knows themselves does not chase every accusation, fight every opinion, or beg for approval. Today, you will discover why the strongest people do not defend themselves. They simply continue walking with confidence. The moment someone questions you, criticizes you, or misunderstands your intentions, there is a natural reaction that rises inside you. You feel the urge to explain, to correct, to make them see the truth. You think, if I can just explain my side, they will understand me. But this is where many people lose their peace. They give their energy to a battle that was never theirs to fight. The need to defend yourself often comes from a place of attachment. You become attached to how others see you, how they judge you, and how they describe you. Without realizing it, you allow someone else's opinion to control your emotions. One negative comment can disturb your entire day. One accusation can make you question your own worth. One misunderstanding can push you into a long explanation just to prove that you are a good person. But ask yourself, why do you feel the need to prove something that you already know within yourself? When you truly understand who you are, you stop depending on external approval. You stop trying to convince everyone of your intentions, because your actions already represent you. A person who has built a strong foundation within themselves does not collapse every time someone throws an opinion at them. Imagine a mountain standing in the middle of a storm. The wind may become stronger, the rain may fall harder, and the clouds may cover the sky, but the mountain does not argue with the storm. It does not try to prove that it is strong. Its existence is the proof. Your character works the same way. If you are honest, disciplined, and committed to your values, you do not need to constantly announce it. Time reveals everything. People may misunderstand your silence today, but your consistency will speak tomorrow. Many people waste years trying to repair an image in someone else's mind. They spend countless hours explaining why they made certain choices, why they walked away, why they changed, or why they followed a different path. But the truth is, not everyone is looking for understanding. Some people have already created a story about you, and no amount of explanation will change their mind. When you realize this, you experience a different kind of freedom. You understand that your responsibility is not to control everyone's perception of you. Your responsibility is to control your own actions, your own reactions, and your own direction. Defending yourself is not always about speaking. Sometimes it is about proving to yourself that you have enough confidence to remain calm. The person who constantly explains themselves is often searching for acceptance. The person who knows themselves is simply continuing their journey. This does not mean you should never speak or stand up for what is right. Wisdom is knowing when your voice is necessary and when silence carries more strength. There are moments when communication matters, but there are also moments when responding only gives more power to something that does not deserve your attention. Your peace is valuable. Your energy is limited. Do not spend your life trying to win every argument, correct every misunderstanding, or convince every person of your worth. Some battles disappear when you stop participating in them. The strongest people are not those who have answers to every accusation. They are those who have peace, even when others question them. They understand that their identity does not come from opinions around them. It comes from the person they choose to become every single day. When you stop defending yourself from every voice, you finally begin listening to your own. When you stop feeling the need to explain yourself, you discover something powerful. Silence can become your greatest strength. Most people believe power comes from having the final word, winning an argument, or proving that they are right. They think the person who speaks the loudest is the person who has control. But true strength is not found in the ability to react. It is found in the ability to remain calm when every part of you wants to respond. Silence is difficult because it requires mastery over yourself. Anyone can speak when they are angry. Anyone can defend their pride when they feel attacked. Anyone can throw words back when they feel hurt. But it takes awareness and discipline to pause and ask, does this response protect my peace, or does it only protect my ego? Many conflicts continue, not because people lack answers, but because they lack control. One person says something, another person reacts, and suddenly, a small moment becomes a battle of pride. Both sides are no longer searching for truth. They are searching for victory. They are trying to prove who is stronger, who is smarter, and who is more justified. But the person who has control over their emotions understands something different. Not every challenge deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every accusation deserves your energy. Your attention is one of the most valuable things you possess. Wherever you place it, you give it life. If you constantly focus on criticism, judgment, and negativity, you allow those things to occupy your mind. But when you choose silence, you take back ownership of your inner world. Silence does not mean you are afraid. It does not mean you have nothing to say. Sometimes silence means you have reached a level of understanding where you no longer need to prove your intelligence, your character, or your intentions. A person with inner peace does not feel pressured to answer every voice around them. They know that some people are not asking questions because they want answers. They are asking because they want a reaction. They want to pull you into their emotional state. They want you to leave your peace and enter their chaos. The moment you refuse to react, you break that cycle. Think about how much energy is wasted by trying to convince people who have already chosen not to understand. You can provide facts, explain your feelings, and share your perspective. But if someone is determined to see you negatively, your words may never reach them. In that moment, your silence becomes a boundary. The strongest people understand that protecting their peace is more important than protecting their image. They do not allow every comment to become a personal battle. They choose their battles carefully because they understand that every battle has a cost. There is a difference between being silent because you have no confidence and being silent because you have complete confidence. The first comes from fear. The second comes from wisdom. When you are secure within yourself, you no longer need to prove that you are valuable. You stop chasing approval from people who only recognize your worth when you explain yourself to them. You stop allowing temporary opinions to disturb your permanent purpose. Remember, a calm mind is more powerful than a loud voice. The person who can remain peaceful in the middle of misunderstanding has achieved something many people spend their entire lives searching for. The greatest victory is not winning every argument. It is refusing to lose yourself in one. There comes a moment in life when you realize that the strongest answer you can give is not always spoken. Sometimes, the most powerful response is the life you create after someone doubts you. Many people spend too much time trying to explain their choices, defend their decisions, and prove their worth to those who are watching. But the truth is, explanations have limits. People can question your words, misunderstand your intentions, or ignore your efforts. But they cannot deny what your actions reveal over time. Your life is always communicating something. Every decision you make, every habit you build, every challenge you overcome, and every promise you keep becomes a reflection of who you are. This is why actions will always speak louder than explanations. Words can create an image, but actions create a reputation. When someone doubts you, your first instinct may be to respond. You may want to tell them about your plans, your struggles, and the reasons behind your choices. You want them to see the bigger picture. But sometimes the greatest answer is to quietly continue working. The person who is focused on growth does not waste their energy trying to convince others that growth is happening. A seed does not argue with the ground before becoming a tree. It does not announce its potential or demand recognition. It simply grows. With patience, consistency, and time, its transformation becomes impossible to ignore. The same principle applies to your life. You do not need to announce every step you are taking. You do not need to explain every sacrifice you are making. You do not need to convince everyone that your path is meaningful. Let your discipline become your statement. Let your progress become your response. Many people look for quick validation. They want others to recognize their effort immediately. They want praise before the results arrive. But true transformation happens quietly. The strongest people understand that the process often happens in silence before it becomes visible to the world. Think about the people who achieved something meaningful. Their success was rarely created through constant explanation. It was created through commitment. They showed up when nobody was watching. They continued when nobody believed in them. They remained focused when others questioned their direction. This is the difference between seeking approval and building something valuable. When you seek approval, you depend on people's reactions. When you build something valuable, you depend on your own commitment. There will always be people who judge you based on a single moment. They may only see your failures, your struggles, or the decisions they do not understand. But you have the power to decide whether their limited view becomes your reality. You do not have to fight every misunderstanding. You do not have to correct every false assumption. Time has a way of revealing what words cannot. Your consistency is your proof. Your character is your evidence. Your actions are your answer. This does not mean words have no value. There are moments when communication is necessary, when honesty must be expressed, and when standing up for yourself matters. But there is a difference between speaking from wisdom and speaking from the need to be accepted. One creates clarity, the other creates exhaustion. When your life is aligned with your values, you become less concerned with proving yourself and more focused on improving yourself. You stop asking, "How do I make them understand me?" and start asking, "How do I become better than I was yesterday?" The world does not need more people who are skilled at explaining themselves. It needs people who are committed to becoming better, stronger, and wiser through their actions. Let your work be seen. Let your growth be felt. Let your character speak when your words are no longer necessary. The most powerful response is becoming the person your critics never expected you to become. One of the greatest sources of unnecessary suffering is the desire to be understood by everyone. We spend so much of our energy trying to explain our choices, defend our intentions, and convince people that our path makes sense. We want others to see our struggles, recognize our efforts, and acknowledge the reasons behind the decisions we make. But the reality is that not everyone will understand your journey, and not everyone needs to. Every person looks at life through their own experiences. They judge situations based on their own beliefs, fears, expectations, and limitations. What seems obvious to you may be invisible to someone else. What feels like courage to you may look like foolishness to another person. What feels like growth to you may appear like change or distance to someone who does not understand your purpose. If you spend your life trying to make everyone see things from your perspective, you will never find peace. You will always be adjusting yourself according to the opinions of others. You will become a prisoner of expectations that were never meant to define you. The moment you accept that not everyone will understand you, you begin to experience freedom. Your journey is yours. Your goals are yours. Your struggles are yours. No one else has walked every step you have walked, faced every challenge you have faced, or carried the weight you have carried. So why give someone else the power to decide whether your choices are valid? Many people seek validation because they doubt themselves. They look outside for permission to believe in their own decisions. They want someone to say, "You are doing the right thing. You are on the correct path." But real confidence is built when you learn to trust yourself, even when nobody else agrees. This does not mean you ignore all advice or refuse to listen to others. Wisdom comes from being open-minded, but there is a difference between accepting guidance and depending on approval. One helps you grow. The other keeps you trapped. There will be moments when people criticize you because they only know a small part of your story. They may judge your decisions without knowing your reasons. They may question your direction because they cannot see the vision you see. In those moments, remember that a person cannot understand a destination they have never been willing to walk toward. Do not reduce your dreams to make other people comfortable. Do not abandon your values just because someone disagrees. Do not spend your precious time proving your worth to people who have already decided not to recognize it. The people who truly belong in your life will not require you to constantly defend who you are. They will observe your actions, respect your growth, and allow you the space to become who you are meant to be. Sometimes, the desire to be understood comes from wanting to be accepted by everyone. But acceptance from everyone is impossible. Even the most honest, kind, and successful people in history have faced criticism and misunderstanding. The goal is not to avoid judgment. The goal is to become strong enough that judgment no longer controls your direction. When you stop chasing validation, you gain something much more valuable: authenticity. You begin making decisions based on your principles instead of people's reactions. You stop asking, "Will they approve?" and start asking, "Is this aligned with the person I want to become?" Your peace grows when you stop trying to control what cannot be controlled. You cannot control every opinion. You cannot control every conversation. You cannot control every person's perception of you. But you can control your character, your effort, and your response. The person who knows their own path does not need a crowd to confirm their direction. They walk forward with patience, trust, and quiet confidence. You do not need everyone to understand your journey. You only need the courage to continue walking it. The final level of freedom comes when you no longer feel the need to prove yourself. When you have developed true self-mastery, the opinions of others lose their ability to control your emotions, your decisions, and your peace. You begin to understand that the greatest battle you will ever face is not against other people's judgments. It is the battle within yourself, the battle to remain calm, disciplined, and focused, regardless of what happens around you. Many people spend their lives trying to win approval. They chase recognition, praise, and acceptance because they believe these things will finally make them feel complete. But approval is temporary. The same people who praise you today may criticize you tomorrow. The same voices that celebrate your success may question your choices when you take a different path. If your confidence depends on outside opinions, your peace will always be fragile. Self-mastery begins when you build your identity from within. You know your values, you understand your purpose, you recognize your strengths and weaknesses. You are not controlled by every compliment or every criticism, because neither defines you completely. A person who has mastered themselves does not need to enter every argument. They do not feel forced to respond to every challenge. They understand that their energy is precious, and they choose carefully where they place it. There is a certain strength in knowing that you do not have to win every conversation. Sometimes the desire to prove yourself comes from the fear of losing respect. But the person who truly respects themselves does not measure their worth by whether someone agrees with them. They understand that peace is more valuable than being right. This does not mean becoming passive or allowing others to disrespect you. Self-mastery is not about weakness. It is about control. It means you have the ability to respond with wisdom instead of reacting from emotion. It means you can stand firmly in your truth without needing anger to support you. Anyone can lose control. Anyone can speak out of frustration. Anyone can allow their emotions to guide their actions. But a person who has trained their mind can remain steady even in difficult situations. Your mind is like a garden. If you allow every negative comment, every unnecessary conflict, and every outside opinion to enter, your inner world becomes filled with chaos. But when you learn to protect your attention and discipline your thoughts, you create a place where peace can grow. The strongest people are not those who have eliminated challenges from their lives. They are those who have developed the inner strength to face challenges without losing themselves. When someone misunderstands you, you remain grounded. When someone doubts you, you continue moving forward. When someone tries to pull you into unnecessary conflict, you choose peace. This level of control cannot be created overnight. It comes from daily practice. It comes from learning to observe your emotions instead of becoming controlled by them. It comes from choosing patience when impatience feels easier. It comes from choosing growth when comfort feels tempting. The more you master yourself, the less you need to prove yourself. You realize that your life is not a performance for other people. You are not here to constantly convince the world that you are worthy. You are here to develop yourself, to live according to your principles, and to become the strongest version of who you can be. At the end of the day, the person you must answer to is yourself. When you can look within and know that you have acted with integrity, discipline, and courage, outside opinions become much smaller. The person who has mastered their own mind has already achieved the greatest victory. Remember, your strength is not measured by how many people you convince, how many arguments you win, or how many times you defend yourself. True strength is found in the peace you protect, the discipline you maintain, and the person you continue becoming. Let others have their opinions. Let your actions reveal your character. Walk your path with confidence, knowing that you do not need to prove your worth to anyone. When you master yourself, silence becomes your power, and your life becomes the answer.